She touched the alien shard. Now an Empress is bound to her. Somewhere beneath the ice of Titan-XVII, a human touched a forgotten shard, and the galaxy trembled. Have you ever wondered, what would happen if a love not written in the stars, became powerful enough to change the fate of an entire alien race? Today, you'll step into a story unlike anything you've heard before, where an alien Empress, bound by ancient law, must choose between her throne and the stranger, who awakens something she was never meant to feel. And where an ordinary woman, broken by her past, becomes the soul a galaxy never expected. Listen closely. Not just with your ears, but with your heart. And if something in this tale stirs something inside you, let it echo in the comments. I want to hear your voice among the stars. The winds howled across the frozen plains of Titan-XVII like the cries of long-dead gods. Pale violet skies stretched endlessly overhead, and beneath the jagged ravine of ancient ice, a figure moved alone. Myra's Celeste descended further into the abyss. Her breath fogged the inside of her cracked helmet. Her oxygen reserves blinked amber. She should have turned back hours ago. But something deeper than instinct, something almost magnetic, had pulled her here. The signal. A pulse that had stuttered across her instruments 3 nights ago, soft, irregular, almost like a heartbeat. It had whispered to her across the stars, a frequency no one else had noticed. Myra followed it through storms, through darkness, through a silence so deep it gnawed at the edges of her mind. Now she stood before it. An alien structure, buried beneath 10,000 years of ice. Black stone spires curved like rib bones toward the cavern ceiling. Blue bioluminescence pulsed faintly along the walls, veins of forgotten power still alive in the dark. The air buzzed with a charge that raised goosebumps on her skin. She stepped forward. In the center of the cathedral-like chamber hovered a shard, a crystal the size of her forearm, suspended in midair, rotating slowly. It gleamed with colors she had no words for. Not glass. Not stone. Not metal. It was alive. And it was waiting. Her boots crunched softly across frostbitten stone. She reached out. "Don't," something inside her whispered. But her fingers brushed the shard anyway. And the universe split open. The shard flared with blinding light. A scream not of pain, but recognition echoed in Myra's skull. Her body seized. She dropped to her knees as the shard surged into her palm, burning itself into her flesh, marking her with a symbol of impossible symmetry. Her mouth opened to scream, but no sound came. And across the stars, something ancient woke up. Far away, on the world of Araxi Prime, inside a temple carved from living obsidian, Varix, first daughter of the Saren Hive matriarch, convulsed. Her ceremonial guards rushed to her side as her black eyes snapped open, wide with fury. "No one but my bondmate may touch the Hive shard," she hissed, voice trembling with fury. "No one. Not a human." A guttural growl rose from her throat. "Prepare my warship," she commanded. Her lone fingers flexed around her throne as the ancient glyph on her chest began to glow in sync with the one Myra now bore unknowingly on her palm. "The shard has chosen," Varix whispered. "And it will obey." Back on Titan-XVII, Myra lay in the dark, alone and panting. Around her, the walls of the alien cathedral shifted, as if awakening from slumber. Symbols flickered to life. The ground trembled. And deep in her bones, Myra felt it an impossible truth she couldn't explain. She was no longer alone in her mind. Something, someone, was coming. And it would change everything. The ice skies above Titan-XVII screamed as the Saren warship breached orbit. It didn't descend, it pierced, like a blade of living obsidian carving through atmosphere. Carried by thrusters that bent gravity itself, The vessel resembled no known ship. Its hull was grown, not built, a shimmering black chrysalis lit from within by violet veins of energy. At its helm stood Varix, clad in armor that breathed with her, alive, like her people. The glyph on her chest pulsed in sync with a second glyph across the galaxy, far below. She could feel the human now. Her thoughts, her fear, and her loneliness. I will rip that shard from her bones, Varix said coldly. But something deep within her core, a hive-born intuition honed over centuries, whispered a contradiction. She's not what you expect. The warship landed in silence that was more terrifying than thunder. Myra Salas awoke in the wreckage of the alien cathedral, her body aching, her thoughts crowded. Something had changed overnight. The glyph on her hand had stopped burning but still pulsed with soft light, in time with her heartbeat, or was it someone else's? She stumbled to her feet just as the ceiling cracked open. A beam of energy cut through ice and stone, forming a perfectly circular entrance. And then she appeared. Varix, first daughter of the matriarch Hive, descended like wrath incarnate. 6 arms folded neatly across her chest, her body sleek and serpentine, adorned in bio-armored plating that shimmered with intelligence. Her face was unervingly beautiful, alien symmetry carved in amethyst and ink. Her gaze locked onto Myra. So small, she said, her voice like silk laced with venom. And yet the shard chose you? Myra backed up instinctively, fists clenched. I didn't choose anything. I touched it, and it responded. Varix stepped closer. That artifact is not a toy. It is a fragment of the Origin Queen. It bonds only once. And forever. Myra's voice trembled. Then unbond it. Varix tilted her head, expression unreadable. It does not unbind, she said. Only death severs the hive link. Silence stretched between them like a drawn blade. Then Varix exhaled slowly and stepped even closer, her energy rippling through the chamber. I should end this now, she whispered. Spill your blood, reclaim what's mine, and be done with this blasphemy? But she didn't. Because for the first time in her life, she hesitated. The shard burned hot on her chest. The echo in her thoughts sharpened Myra's fear, her grief, the pain of watching Earth turn its back on her after the failed Europa mission. The memories flowed without warning. And Varix felt it. You've lost someone, she said, blinking. Myra's eyes narrowed. Stay out of my head. I can't, Varix growled, her fists tightening. The link is deeper than I imagined. The shard is sinking our minds. Emotions. Memories. Instincts. She closed her eyes briefly. It's already begun. Above them, aboard the Sarin cruiser, the High Scribes debated heresy. This is unacceptable, one hissed, mandibles clicking. No human may carry the hive bond. The Empress must break the connection. Immediately. If she does not, another warned, we will invoke exile. And so the ultimatum was sent. Back in the cathedral, Varix received the message in silence. Her eyes opened, storm-colored and haunted. They want me to kill you, she said quietly. Myra didn't flinch. Go ahead. The silence between them shifted. And Varix trained from birth to crush rebellion, to command obedience, to silence threats, lowered her weapons instead. You should be dead, she whispered. But the shard has rewritten fate. She reached forward. Myra didn't move as alien fingers brushed her palm. When they touched, the glyphs on their bodies ignited, 2 stars colliding in the dark. A bridge formed between 2 minds. 2 souls. 2 species. And everything began to change. The wind outside the alien cathedral howled like a grieving creature. But inside, it was unnervingly quiet. Varix sat on a fractured stone bench, her 6 arms folded around herself, not in defense, but in confusion. She had never felt cold before. Not truly. Not until now. Myra stood across from her, arms wrapped tightly around her chest. She hadn't said a word in 10 minutes. The silence wasn't comfortable. It was charged. Not with anger. Not even fear. But with a shared awareness that something irreversible had happened. The glyphs on their skin pulsed in harmony. 1 beat. 2 minds. A rhythm neither could stop. Tell me what you see, Myra finally said, her voice quiet but steady. Varix looked up slowly. Your memories. Not clearly. Like ripples in a dark pool. I feel them more than see them. She tilted her head. You loved someone. A woman. She died in the Europa breach. Myra's breath caught. You don't get to touch that. I didn't want to, Varix said, softer now. But the shard opened the bond. What you hide I feel. What I suppress you taste. Myra turned away, ashamed of the tears stinging her eyes. You're a conqueror. You've never lost anything. Varix stood. The sound of her armor shifting was like silk over stone. You're wrong. She crossed the distance between them and extended one hand, just one. The gesture was strangely human. Myra hesitated, then took it. Their palms met. And it happened again. Flashes of memory. Not Myra's. Varix's. The coronation chamber, the roar of thousands of voices in the hive. Her mother's eyes, as sharp as obsidian, declaring her the next Empress. You will feel nothing. You will need nothing. Love is for the lesser species. Then shame. Varix, secretly watching Earth transmissions. Studying human emotions like forbidden fruit. Envying their laughter, their chaos, their closeness. Wanting more. Myra stumbled back, overwhelmed. You've wanted to feel something, she whispered. All this time. Varix's voice trembled. And now I can stop. They stood facing each other, breathing heavily. The glyphs on their skin glowed brighter, casting strange shadows on the ancient walls. Then came the call. A holographic panel flared to life near Varix's gauntlet, an emergency frequency. Saren High Command. A shrill voice filled the room. The bond remains unbroken. You have one standard cycle. If you do not sever it, the Empress in waiting will be cast from the hive. Permanently. The message ended with a hiss. Varix looked at Myra, her expression unreadable. I was meant to rule an empire, she said slowly. But for the first time in my life, I don't know if I want it. Myra sat down beside her. You have a choice. For once. Varix turned to her. And what if I choose you? Myra looked at her, truly looked. Past the alien armor, the cold exterior, the burning glyph. And saw something achingly familiar. Loneliness. I think, she said softly, I'd stopped running too. That night, they stayed in the ruins together. No words. Just breath. Just warmth. Just the knowledge that something new had begun. And far above, cloaked ships began to converge. Not Saren. Not human. Something else. Something that had been waiting for the bond to form. And was ready to claim its power. The dawn over Titan-XVII wasn't real. The sun was filtered through icy haze, scattering light like shattered glass. Still, It painted the ruins in pale gold as Myra awoke beside the most dangerous being she'd ever known. Varix, Empress in waiting of the Saren hive, slept curled around her like a blade set to rest, every line of her body tense even in slumber. But Myra saw something new in her face now. Peace. Not the kind born of security. The kind born of choice. The moment shattered as a pulse struck the chamber walls. A low thrum of biological code echoed from the edge of the ravine. Varix snapped awake. They found us. A second warship descended, not Saren. It bore the crimson insignia of the Vulthes swarm, thought extinct. A race of bioengineers, exiled centuries ago for attempting to weaponize bonded pairs across species. And now, they had come for the shard. From the ship emerged 8 figures, tall, silver-skinned, eyeless. No weapons. They were the weapons. Their leader stepped forward and bowed, a gesture Myra instantly distrusted. You are the bonded, the creature rasped in a voice that seemed to slide beneath skin. And the artifact has awakened fully. Excellent. Varix stepped between them and Myra. You have no claim here. The shard belongs to the hive. No longer, the being said. The shard chose a union forbidden by both your laws and ours. That makes it useful. Then, without warning, the beings attacked. The world exploded in motion. Varix launched forward, her blades unsheathed in a blur of violet light. She moved with impossible speed, but the Vulthes adapted faster, shifting their forms like liquid, dodging, striking back with tendrils of pulsing energy. Myra ducked behind fallen pillars, trying to stabilize her breathing. The glyph on her hand burned, and her mind flooded with Varix's thoughts, not words, feelings. Protect. Protect her. I won't let them touch her. She clutched her palm. And suddenly, her body reacted, not like a human, not entirely. The shard flared, and energy burst from her in a ripple of blue-white light. One Vulthes soldier was blown backward, slamming into a wall hard enough to leave a crater. Varix turned, stunned. You activated a defense response. The shard's evolving. Myra staggered forward, heat crawling up her spine. I don't know what I did. You felt me in danger. The shard reacted to your emotion. Their eyes locked. And Varix smiled, not cold, not sharp. Warm. Proud. But the moment was stolen. A tendril speared through Varix's side. She gasped, blood like molten amethyst dripping down her armor. No. Myra screamed, rushing to her. The Vulthes leader advanced, voice like static, we will extract the bond. And your pain will teach others not to defy fate. Myra dropped to her knees beside Varix, gripping her hand tightly. Don't you die on me. I swear, if you leave me now. The shard flared between them. Their glyphs merged in light, forming a single blazing sigil that lit the entire cathedral in white-blue fire. And time stopped. The Vulthes screamed, convulsing as the wave passed through them, too much empathy, too much emotion for their synthetic minds to process. They collapsed one by one, twitching and inert. When it was over, Myra fell forward, trembling. Varix, barely conscious, reached up and brushed a strand of hair from her face. You saved me, she whispered, blood in her throat. You saved me first, Myra replied, tears falling freely. Above the battlefield, the Saren warship hovered, its crew having watched the entire fight unfold. They had seen the bond defy death. They had seen power born not from dominance, but from love. And for the first time in Saren history, they lowered their weapons. The Saren warship descended in silence. No weapons raised. No shields deployed. Instead, its massive central gate opened like the petals of a mechanical flower, revealing the matriarch throne, and seated upon it, Mother Saraxa, Queen of the Hive. Her presence was suffocating. She radiated age, wisdom, and power beyond comprehension. Her body was layered in living stone, her limbs coiled like serpents around the throne. Behind her, hundreds of Saran delegates stood in still formation, a wall of judgment. Myra helped Varix to her feet, wrapping one arm around the wounded Empress. And then, she looked up at a being who could unmake them both with a single command. "You have defied our law," Saraxa said without emotion. "I followed a deeper one," Varix replied. "The shard chose. I accepted. It chose a human. It chose connection." Gasps echoed through the delegates. No Saran had ever spoken so directly, so emotionally in open council. Saraxa's eyes narrowed. "You would abandon your destiny? Your empire? For this?" Her gaze flicked toward Myra, cold and ancient. Varix straightened, ignoring the pain in her side. "No, I would redefine it." She stepped forward. And Myra stepped with her. Their glyphs pulsed in unison. One breath. One rhythm. One soul. Myra raised her voice, clear and unflinching. "You built your empire on obedience. On controlling bonds like they were chains. But the shard doesn't obey laws. It obeys truth. And the truth is..." She glanced at Varix, voice softening. "We chose each other. Not because we had to. But because we saw each other." A flicker of something passed across Saraxa's face. It might have been emotion. Or memory. She sat back in her throne, silent. And then she said the unthinkable. "Then let this be our new law." A collective gasp rippled through the chamber. "From this day forward, no bond shall be dictated by species or bloodline. The Hive will honor truth above tradition." She turned to Myra. "You are no longer an outsider. You are one of us." Hours later, the formalities faded. Myra and Varix stood alone in the cathedral where it all began, bathed in starlight from the open skies above. Varix leaned against a pillar, her side bandaged, her armor set aside. "Are you sure you want this?" Myra asked quietly. "I mean, empire-shattering romance isn't usually part of my 5-year plan." Varix smiled. "Neither is bleeding for a human in a forgotten ruin." They stood in silence a moment longer. Then Myra reached out and laced her fingers with Varix's. The glyphs on their skin glowed once more, but softer now, like firelight. "I don't know where we go from here," Myra said. Varix leaned in, her voice a purr. "Then let's make it up as we go. One shard. One soul. And a galaxy forever changed." Myra and Varix were never meant to find each other. But when they did, they didn't just fall in love, they unmade centuries of silence. Of rules. Of fear. Their bond became something more than legend. It became a new law. A new way to live. Because sometimes, the greatest revolutions begin not with fire, but with a hand reaching out in the dark. And someone brave enough to take it. If this story left something inside you, a whisper, a warmth, a wondering, don't keep it quiet. Let it echo in the comments. I'll be listening. Always. And if you want to keep walking the starlit path with me, through more galaxies, more hearts, more impossible truths, subscribe. Here, we don't just tell stories. We connect the ones who never thought they'd be seen. And we make sure they are never forgotten.